All right, friends. Let's talk about somebody who's not here.
Craven!
College football insider Mike Craven. Mike Craven is on vacation at the moment, but the grind don't stop for him. The grind don't stop because he's got some pieces up on TexasFootball.com. He's going through and ranking the state of Texas college football, talking about the top 10. He's calling the Texas top 10 at each position.
Yes.
He's going to each position group. I believe he's knocked out the entire offense at this point.
Yes.
Because he finished up, I believe he put up the tight ends yesterday. But he's going through ranking the top 10 in each position group. And, this is certainly up for debate. And there's going to be some person that he ranks pretty highly that is going to crater. It's not going to go well, or they're going to get injured or something like that. Or there's going to be a guy who nobody sees coming that shoots up the charts and ends up being like the number one guy.
Absolutely.
It's going to happen. But right now, here in early March, with still 6 months between now and football.
This is like way too early rankings, which we're a big fan of.
Even before spring football.
Yeah, that's the big one.
There may be a guy on this list who doesn't win their job. That's possible.
Oh, yeah.
But he put up his top 10 quarterbacks in college football heading into the 2022 season. And your mileage may vary, but here's what he came up with as far as his top 10. At number 10, he had Lane Hatcher at Texas State. He is a transfer in from Arkansas State. He is, right now, that's Mike Craven's projection to be to win the quarterback job there at Texas Tech. He's going to have to hold off the incumbent in Brady McBride. But this is a guy who split some snaps at Arkansas State. But he believes he's going to be the guy that takes over at Texas State. He comes in at number 10. Number 9 is Gavin Hardison, the quarterback at UTEP. He was certainly a surprise, I think, this year. But I would say that he broke a school record for passing yards.
I was going to say he might have dropped down a little bit just because they're losing Jacob Cowing.
But they also, Jacob Cowing, of course, transferred out of the program. But Gavin Hardison, did set a record for passing yards, though he only completed 55% of his passes. So it's real kind of boom or bust there for Gavin Hardison, who's number 9 on Mike Craven's list. Number 8, Tyler Shuck, the quarterback at Texas Tech. He did start 4 games before he had a season-ending injury. I would say that he did not live up to his expectations even when he was healthy.
Correct.
But they're bringing in Zach Kitley, the offensive coordinator, who was the offensive coordinator for that wild-ass offense at Western Kentucky, where they kind of brought them in whole hog from
Houston Baptist.
And then
they literally picked it up and moved the entire offense to the hilltop.
And so if he's healthy, he could put up some big numbers for Texas Tech. He's number 8. Number 7 is Gary Bohannon at Baylor. Of course, he led them to, or helped lead them to, the Big 12 championship game. He was injured late in the year.
He reminds me of Hardison in kind of hot or cold.
And
he had really good moments and then not so good moments.
And here's an interesting guy who I think you can make an argument he may not be the starter.
Yeah, that's also
Blake
true.
Shapen, Kyron Drones are going to have something to say about this. He didn't throw an interception the first half of the season. He helped get them to that Big 12 championship game and helped get them to win the conference. But he's number 7 on Mike Craven's list. Number 6 is Max Duggan at TCU.
Old Faithful.
He's
still
a guy.
There.
He's still there, and he's a guy who he was probably held back as far as his true potential by the coaching staff there at TCU. Sonny Dykes going to let it rip. He's going to let him go.
Absolutely.
And so we're going to see whatever Max Duggan's got, we're going to see it in 2022.
And pretty early on, I would think, too.
Stay on. Exactly right. He did complete 66% of his passes, which was the highest of his career last year. Number 5 is Haynes King at Texas A&M. This is a guy who was injured in the 3rd game of the season. And then the A&M passing offense was never consistent.
No.
He is another guy who may not be the starter. Max Johnson, the transfer in from LSU. Plus, they've got the 5-star freshman in Connor Wigman. But he probably has having a year in Jimbo Fisher's system and understanding it, I think, is going to give him an advantage.
Just got to keep it healthy.
If he stays healthy, and he's athletic and he's got a big arm, that's
he's
something
fast too.
Something they were not getting from Zach Calzada. He could be that kind of high riser. He's number 5. Number 4 is Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers, of course, is the transfer in from Ohio State. He was supposed to be a freshman this year. He's actually now just a redshirt freshman. He took 2 snaps at Ohio State before he transferred. He was a one-time Longhorn commit. He ends up landing there at Texas. This is a guy, he did not throw a pass at Texas at Ohio State.
No, it was 2 handoffs.
As far as the pedigree is concerned, as far as the recruiting status is concerned, I mean, he is a 5-star guy. He is a big-time pickup. He's going to have one of the best wide receivers in the country in Xavier Worthy out wide.
We know he can sling it.
We are about to find out if the hype is real. That's plain and simple. Right now, he's number 4 on Mike Craven's Texas top 10 quarterbacks for 2022. Number 3 is Frank Harris. Frank Harris from UTSA. He was probably the most improved player in the state in 2021.
Absolutely.
And really helped. By him going from average to pretty darn good, he took UTSA from pretty good to conference champions.
Especially because people understood that Sincere McCormick was going to get the ball, so when they started really teaming up on that, Frank Harris took that big step forward that they needed.
Now they're gonna need more from him because he's gonna need to step up in a big way with Sincere McCormick off to the NFL draft. But Frank Harris, number 3, and if they can take another big step, they can stay at the top of Conference USA. The American Athletic Conference takes both the top 2 spots. Number 2 is Tanner Mordecai at SMU. He put up huge numbers there at SMU last year after a transfer from Oklahoma. The Hewitt Midway product was he actually led the nation in touchdown passes for more than half of the season. One of the problems for them, though, was that they went 1-4 down the stretch, and he is taking over a new system with Rhett Lashley, but the systems are similar enough that when he was the offensive coordinator, Lashley was in 2018, 2019, that there shouldn't be that big of a gap there for Tanner Mordecai, as he is number 2 on Mike Craven's Texas top 10. And the number 1 quarterback on the Texas top 10.
This is another Old Faithful.
Yes, Clayton Toon at Houston. Now that I think is another bit of a surprise because I think if you had we've said this about Houston before, if you had made the argument right after game 1 of the season, you would have been saying, "Wait, him?"
Yeah,
I mean, he was the guy who threw 4 picks, I believe, in the first first game of the year.
Yeah, against
Texas Tech. And we're thinking, there goes Houston's season.
Yep.
Well, then they exploded. And they figure to be really explosive in 2022 with Tank Dell back, Alton McCaskill back, put together an 11-game winning streak. He could throw for, this is a guy who only threw 6 interceptions in his final 13 games. Threw 4 in week 1, and then he threw 6 the rest of the year. That's really impressive. He gets the nod from Mike Craven for the Texas Top 10 2022. How do you feel about this list, Pickle?
I like it. I do. I think that this shows there's a lot of unknowns heading into the quarterbacks for next year, mainly because of injury. Like when you look at Haynes King, when you look at Gary Bohannon, when you look at Tyler Shuck, like all of those, it's going to be interesting to see. Can we keep some quarterbacks healthy in this state? Because I feel like that's a really, really good list of quarterbacks, but no one really reached their true potential last year. And a big portion of that is injury.
I think that's fair. I would say that the only guy, Mordecai maybe reaches potential.
Yeah. And then Clayton Toon obviously did too. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, Clayton Toon did too.
I think a lot of people are going to go into fuss about Clayton Toon being number 1 on this list, but I think that if you genuinely look at the scope of the rest of the quarterbacks, you'll see that Craven is right on this. I agree with him.
So there it is. Mike Craven's Texas top 10 quarterbacks for 2022. Let us know who you think should be number 1 in the comments and on TexasFootball.com. Hey, thanks for watching this clip here on YouTube. If you like this kind of stuff and you want more of it, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And remember, you can watch us live every weekday at noon at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, or here on YouTube. And if you want more of the best coverage of football in the state of Texas, check out TexasFootball.com and become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe.